Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we'll be diving into the basics of version control and showing you how to download and install Git on Windows 11 and 10. Whether you're a developer or just getting started with coding, Git is an essential tool for tracking changes in your project. So, let's jump right in. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with our latest tutorials. Alright, let's get started. Git is a distributed version control system that allows you to track changes in your source code during software development. It helps you collaborate with others and maintain a history of your project. Today, we'll walk you through the process of downloading and installing Git on Windows 11 and 10. To begin, open your web browser and navigate to the official Git website. I'll leave the link in the description below for your convenience. Once you're there, click on the Download for Windows button to get the installer. Now that the installer is downloaded, let's go ahead and run it. The installation process is straightforward. Just follow the on-screen instructions. You will be prompted to specify the installation location. It is recommended that you keep the installation location as the default location unless you have a specific reason to change it. Once you've designated the installation location for Git on Windows, the next page will prompt you to choose components. Unless you have specific preferences or requirements, it's recommended to stick with the default components. These default settings are secure and suitable for most users. Simply leave them unchanged and proceed by clicking the next button to continue with the installation. You'll be prompted to create a Start menu folder by the installer. Simply click the next button to finalize the process. During this stage, the installer recommends choosing your default text editor for Git. While the default configuration includes the Vim editor, you have the flexibility to opt for other choices such as Notepad or any preferred text editor from the drop-down menu. After making your selection, click the next button to proceed. On the following page, you're given the choice to establish the default branch name. Depending on your preference, you can opt for either master or main. Once you've made your selection, click Next to continue. During this step, you have the option to include Git in the system's path environment variable by choosing the recommended selection. This will allow you to utilize Git from PowerShell or command prompt seamlessly. It is advisable to go with the default and suggested option for a smooth Git installation. Although the installer gives you the choice to choose SSH for Git, OpenSSH is already installed, thus there's no need to change anything at this point. Unless you plan to use a specific client, there's no need to change this. Press Next to continue. It is advisable to proceed with the default option in this step pertaining to server certificates. Stick with the recommended choice, which involves selecting the default library, OpenSSL, for HTTPS transport. To continue, click the Next button. However, in an Active Directory environment, there might be a need to convert your server certificates to those from the Windows Store. In the majority of situations, opting for Checkout Windows Style, Commit Unix style line endings is recommended. This choice enhances the management of line ending conversions, especially when collaborating on repositories created on various platforms. Since line endings configuration is crucial for data formatting, making improper changes can potentially lead to issues. To finalize the process, click Next. In this step, you have the option to choose the terminal emulator for Git Bash, either the built-in Windows terminal or MinTTY. If you're uncertain about which option to select, it's recommended to proceed with the default choice. While the installer provides the option to modify the behavior of the git pull command, it is recommended to accept the default git pull behavior and proceed by selecting Next. Opt for the default credential helper for storing or fetching credentials, and click Next. You have the option to enable features such as enable file system caching and enable symbolic links based on your specific needs. Typically, users opt for the default option enable file system caching as it significantly enhances performance. However, if you require the use of symbolic links similar to shortcuts for the command line, you can enable this feature by checking the box next to it. You can enable experimental options if you want and try them. Click the Install button to begin the installation. Once the installation is complete, you can open the Git Bash terminal or command line to verify that Git has been installed successfully. As you can see, it has been installed and the version number is shown on the screen. Prior to initiating Git on a Windows system, it's crucial to configure your username and email address for Git. Open a command prompt, PowerShell, or Git Bash window and run the following commands. The command is used to set the global configuration for the Git user's name. This command is part of Git's configuration settings and is used to associate a name with your Git commits on a global level. When you make a commit, Git records this information, helps to identify the author of the changes. Replace this placeholder with your actual name. This is the name that will be associated with your Git commits. This command is used to set the global configuration for the Git user's email address. This command is part of Git's configuration settings and is employed to associate an email address with your Git commits on a global level. You need to have a Git account. If you do not have one, you can set up one. You can also use the Git Bash to run commands. When you install Git for Windows, Git Bash is typically included as part of the installation. It provides a powerful and flexible interface for working with Git and is widely used by developers on Windows who prefer command line interactions. This command is essentially asking Git to display the documentation related to configuring Git settings using the git config command. It can be helpful for users who want to understand the various configuration options, syntax, and usage patterns associated with the git config command. The manual page typically includes explanations of command options, examples, and additional details that can assist users in configuring Git according to their needs. Let us make a directory by running this command. Let us change directory to the new folder we just created. The git initiate command is used to initialize a new Git repository. When you run this command in a directory, it sets up the necessary files and data structures that Git uses to manage version control for your project. After running these commands, your project directory is now a Git repository, and you can begin using Git to track changes and collaborate on your project. The git initiate command is typically used only once when you start a new project or want to convert an existing project into a Git repository. Let us create a file in the empty folder. The git status command is used to show the status of changes as untracked, modified, or staged in your Git working directory. When you run git status, Git provides information about the current state of your working directory and the staging area, highlighting any differences between your working directory and the last commit. The output will provide information on the status of your working directory, including any modifications, additions, or deletions. This command is useful to understand the state of your project and helps you decide which files to stage and commit. The git add command is used to add changes in your working directory to the staging area in preparation for a commit. When you make modifications to files in your Git repository, these changes are initially considered as unstaged or modified. The git add command is how you tell Git that you want to include these changes in the next commit. After using git add, the changes are moved to the staging area, and they are ready to be committed. The staging area is an intermediate step where you can review and organize your changes before they become part of a commit. The git status command can be used to check the status of your changes, showing what is staged and what is not. Once you are satisfied with the staged changes, you can proceed to commit them using git commit. The git commit command is used to create a new commit in Git, along with a commit message provided in line with the command. Commits in Git are snapshots of your project at a specific point in time, capturing changes made to the repository. It's important to note that commit messages should be descriptive and follow a convention that helps you and others understand the changes introduced by the commit. Good commit messages contribute to a clear and comprehensible project history. Before launching Git on a Windows system, configuring your username and email address for Git is an essential step. I did not run these commands earlier, I just showed them to you. This is why I got this error. Let us now run the necessary commands. Run this command and enter your GitHub username. Run this command and enter your GitHub email address. I made a mistake, this is not my GitHub username, let me change it. Let me now rerun the earlier command that failed. As you can see, it is now successful. This is my GitHub account. Let us create a repository and upload some files. Copy the link and link the repository to our local machine. Run this command plus add the link at the end of the command to make the link to the remote folder. The command git push origin master is used in Git to push the changes you've made in your local Git repository to the remote repository, specifically to the branch named master on the remote repository named origin. So, when you run git push origin master, you are telling Git to push the changes from your local master branch to the master branch on the remote repository named origin. Remember, before executing a push, it's a good practice to ensure you have committed your changes locally using git commit. The local files have now been pushed to the remote repository. As you can see, the file 01 is now on GitHub. Congratulations! You've successfully downloaded and installed Git on your Windows 11 or Windows 10 system. Now you're ready to start using Git for version control in your projects. If you have any questions or encounter any issues during the installation process, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll do my best to help you out. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy coding!